All right, everybody. This is KMKanDrum, and this is another episode of Q&A with KMKanDrum. If you haven't checked out my previous interviews, please check them out. I've got a slew of interviews before this one and coming up afterwards. So hit subscribe, hit that notification bell so you get notified every time there's a new interview. These interviews have been great so far. Uh, Most of them have been drummers, but last night actually I just interviewed my first non-drummer, a bassist that I knew from a long time ago. So I'm starting to get into other musicians as well. Mostly it'll be drummers though. So we'll try to stay on the topic of music as much as possible. Also, please check out my brand new website, www.kmkandrum. There's a lot of cool stuff on there, extra stuff that you might not see on YouTube, or I have an about me page. So there's anything you want to know about me music wise, you could check it out, and you can find it out there. Okay, so that's all of my shameless self promotion. I want to bring in the amazing YouTube drummer from all the way from Adelaide in Australia. His name's Walton Brown, but you'll know him more as, and I hope I say this right, Churr Doi Drumma.
Churr Doi Drumma it is, Kelly. That's the name of the channel. Churr Doi is a Maori phrase. I was born in New Zealand, so Churr Doi is a phrase meaning cool man. Awesome. These days they say chur bro, but in my day it was chur doi.
Nice. I love. We were actually talking through, I think, Skype, or maybe it was email. I'm not sure, but I'm a big Taika Waititi fan and all of his movies. I think he's an amazing director from New Zealand. I think he's half Maori, half Jewish. Yeah, he's done movies like Boy, Eagle versus Shark. The I can't remember the name of the vampire one. What We Do in the Shadows, I think is what it's called.
That's one,
He's an amazing actor, writer, director, Maori guy. And it's made me want to go to New Zealand and Australia as well. So hopefully one day I'll be able to get down there and meet you guys.
Yeah, he promotes Maori stuff vigorously. He's very aggressive in that area. To make sure that everyone knows where he's from. He's actually from the east coast of New Zealand, that's the place that I'm from, on the North Island of New Zealand. That's where I was born anyway. Moved over here in Australia about 20 years ago.
Wow.
I don't know whether I get back to New Zealand. We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Do you like one better than the other?
I miss New Zealand. I go back there at least once a year, recharge my batteries, and come back here and get back into it. But most of my playing, the experience I got as a professional player was back in New Zealand.
Oh wow. Okay. Cool. Okay. Well, if you guys haven't checked out his channel, please. He is a Latin guru. I mean, his feel is super smooth. It's suave. Him and I, right off the bat, when I first saw his video, I was totally impressed. I had to leave a comment. And ever since then, we've been commenting back and forth, chatting, and really, he's become one of my good drummer buddies, a brother that I like to say is on the opposite side of the world, but that distance is never going to stop us from having a great drum relationship. And I'm so happy that we're doing this interview today, and I hope that people that are watching this check out your channel if they haven't already, because you do some amazing work. It's actually nothing that I've seen on YouTube yet. There's drummers that do all kinds of stuff, but you really honed down that Latin feel.
Thank you, Kelly. Let's see. I think as a young player, most of us, I think, we played Western pop style music. When I decided to put the channel together, I sort of wanted to stay away from Western pop because I've been playing it all my life. And so I couldn't see any reason to keep on doing it. So I wanted to do something that was challenging for something new. I've always liked Latin stuff, Spanish originated music. So that was the way to go. I think I love it. I just love it.
Yeah, I mean, you really carved like a niche out for yourself, and you stand out in that way. And I think it's quite amazing. I wish I could play Latin. I try, but I kind of I'm still really heavy-handed with the rock, and I feel like as a rock drummer, I do pretty good for what I have the tools that I have, but you take it to a whole new level, man. It's really awesome the stuff you do.
Thank you, Hermano. Um, I don't think I play original. I don't know. I know I don't play original Latin styles, but I try to make the style that I play fit within the groove that I'm playing. So if it's a tango or if it's a flamenco, try and make it fit in that style without being distracting. So people
Yeah,
actually don't know that I'm not actually playing that style, but it sort of fits in anyway. It
yeah,
seems to work. And for me, pop music, English speaking Western pop music, is on YouTube. It's very crowded. There's a lot of stuff happening in that area. So Latin, Spanish, European, it's not so crowded in those areas. So that's one of the reasons why I like doing the stuff I do.
yeah. It's awesome. I mean, it's completely original, so I appreciate it. I hope other people appreciate it. But let's actually start with these questions because I think people want to know a little bit more about you. At least I do. So it doesn't matter whether anyone else is ready. I'm ready. So let's get into these questions. The first section I like to call drum related questions. It's kind of like an opener. Gets everyone's whistle wet, and kind of into what you're into right now. So the first question I always like to keep the same. We're all musicians, and playing music it takes a lot of dedication, a lot of work, commitment. So I always want to ask, and I always am curious, how long everyone's been playing, and I want to know from you, how long have you been in this relationship with the drums?
When did I start? How long? Well, when did I start? I can remember distinctly the night it happened. I was living in New Zealand back in a place called Gisborne on the east coast, and a friend of mine took me to a dance. I was about 16 years old. Took me to the local dance in our little town, and I had never seen a live band playing prior to that night. I can remember walking into the hall and slowly grab it. I'd never heard a live band at all, and suddenly hear all this live music in front of me. Um, During the evening, of course, I sort of gravitated towards the stage, found myself standing in front of the drummer, and we went from there. I can still remember the drum kit. This is when I was about 16, 17 years old, and it was a red drum kit, two rack toms, and a kick drum. I can't remember the cymbals or whether they had a floor tom or anything like that. But from then on, it was it was decided. Well, this is what I'm going to do, and I went home, grabbed my mother's knitting needles, and away I went.
That's awesome. So what were you banging on? Just anything and everything you could?
Yeah. I would grab the kitchen chair, take it into the bedroom, put all the pillows around the bed, and start banging away. I don't know how long it took before I got my first drumsticks, but I do remember getting them, and my mother saying, no, my parents saying, well, 'cause at the time I was sitting with, I think you guys call it when you graduate from high school, and I was about to graduate from high school as well, but I was playing up at the time. I was being a bit mischief. And my parents said, "Well, look, we understand you're interested in the drum kit, and if I was to knuckle down and graduate from high school, they'd buy me a drum kit." So I said, "Well, that's a good deal."
Yeah.
And at the same time, I was getting in trouble with a lot of my rallies and relatives and friends at the time were involved with gangs at the time. So I was getting pretty mischief at that time as well. And they could see the opportunity to move me away from that lifestyle, and it
Yeah.
happened. I graduated, or I got they call it a school cert back in New Zealand, and I graduated. Christmas time, they bought me a drum kit, and away I was. I
Wow,
never
can you
looked back.
imagine if you didn't have drums in your life? Where would you be?
Oh, I often think about that. I think about if I hadn't changed roads, I would definitely have a different lifestyle. I was getting a little bit of trouble when I was about 16 or 17 years old. And I don't think anyone realized how much of a change a drum kit would make to someone's life, but it did make a big difference to my life.
Yeah, yeah. Same with me. I mean, I was a quiet, shy kid. I had a couple of friends, but once I got into high school, my elementary school was a couple of hundred kids, and then we go into a high school where there's a couple thousand kids, and all of a sudden the fish tank is huge. And if you're a shy young kid, I was scrawny, little. I mean, if I was standing behind a tree, you wouldn't be able to see me. So it was like very hard to get noticed, very hard to make new friends. And that's when I started playing drums around 13 years old. And, once you establish a talent in something, and at my school, my school band was actually pretty popular in the United States a couple of generations before my uncle went to the same school, and he took that jazz band all over the country, won awards and whatnot. So it was a pretty popular high school jazz band, and I was able to get into that jazz band as well. And most schools, I think, at least in America, if you're a music kid, you're kind of like a nerd or a geek. But in my high school, Eagle Rock High School, being a music kid was actually you're actually one of the cool kids. So it was funny that I had like just a natural talent to play drums, and then once I got into the jazz band, it like totally changed my world. Like I made so many more friends and was able to gain that confidence. And yeah, if I hadn't had drums, who knows what I probably would have been. Just like, I don't even know. I can't even think about it. So yeah, drums is like this crazy thing that we have in life that has changed our lives. It's really interesting.
Yeah, if it wasn't for music, I'd definitely be on the road to some completely different lifestyle, and I don't think I would have enjoyed it. Probably
Yeah.
in jail by now. I don't know.
I hope not, man.
No.
But yeah, you never know.
The little town that I grew up in, we would get, when you finished school, you'd either go into there was only two industries in that little town. There was a abattoir and a cannery. So you come out of school and you either went to the left or the right, and there was one of those jobs. So it was a pretty dead-end existence back then. So the drums got me out of the town. I went to the Wellington in New Zealand, capital of New Zealand, and enjoyed playing with a lot of young bands back then, and had a really good time learning how to play, learning how to operate within young bands. It was a lot of fun.
Have you ever heard of the Phoenix Foundation?
We have a Phoenix Foundation in Australia. It's a non-profit organization that helps industries, promotes the workplace in manufacturing industries in Australia. Is that what you're talking about? No?
No, it's actually a band that Taika Waititi uses a lot in his movies. I think they're from Wellington, or they're from New Zealand. I know for sure, but I'm not sure exactly what city they're from. But they're an amazing band.
A lot of the music that I don't get involved with a lot of music from New Zealand these days. When I go back to recharge my batteries, one of the things I do is stay away from music and just chill out. When I get back to Australia, then get back into it again.
Awesome.
But as often as I can, I'll try and get away from the stuff.
Yeah. Okay, so I feel like you could probably answer this question uniquely, actually. I'm actually quite curious as to who you would pick. So I want you to try to be Dr. Frankenstein and take your favorite drummer's hands, your favorite drummer's feet, heart and soul and mind. And they could be all the same guy. They could be from different guys, but just make that monster drummer.
That's a hard one. It is really hard one, because you'd say something now and you change it tomorrow and then you change it again the next day. If you were to get technical about it, I suppose the guy that's always impressed me with his hands is Carl Palmer from Emerson, Lake and Palmer. So he goes back to the 70s and 80s, and some of the stuff I've seen him do on the snare drum with his hands on the drum kit is amazing. And I don't think a lot of people appreciate what he's done back in those early days. But if you're going to talk only about the hands, of course there's the Dave Weckels and the Vinnies and that something, but as far as really good hands, really tight, accurate hands, I'd say Carl Palmer back then. For feet, probably, don't know, not too sure. Thomas Lang.
Oh yeah,
Thomas Lang. There's a video I saw of him sitting in an airport doing a drum solo with on the backs of chairs with his practice pedals. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't seen it.
You guys want to check it out? It's just Thomas Lang practicing at an airport, and that was actually the first video I saw of Thomas Lang, and I've been a big fan of his ever since. But if you get a chance to do that, check it out. It's a great video, and he has got good feet, really good feet.
Yeah, but I haven't. I'm not sure if it's Thomas Lang or not, but there's a video going around also where it's just a foot shot, and he's playing a foot pattern. I think it's Thomas Lang. I could be wrong though. But he's playing a foot pattern, and he's got like a white shoe on, and as he's playing the foot pattern, the color of the shoe changes. So he's changing shoes, but he's still playing the same pattern. It's a really cool video. I think it's Thomas Lang.
I haven't seen that one. I haven't seen that one at all. But he's a great player. But that's a really, really tough question because it's not really. I don't think drummer's technique, for me anyway, is the driver to like someone. It's someone's creativity, really. It's their imagination. If I can hear someone come up with some really good ideas, then that's the driver for me, rather than how technically good he is. I think. I mean, a lot of the music that I like now is driven by singers, and it's the singer that will first draw me to the music, and then I'll start checking out the band.
Yeah,
always.
I'm very similar. Yeah, great. Let's see. Let's get more into gear. I think if I can remember correctly, when I'm watching your videos, you use nylon tip. Is that right?
No.
Oh, you use wood tip?
Definitely not. Yeah, I've always used. I don't understand the reason for nylon. I've got a few nylon sticks in my cupboard because you get them when on your Christmas at your birthday party. Someone will bring you a nylon stick. All you can do is smile and say thank you. I won't use them because I don't want to break them. So you put them away and just leave them there. But it's always been wood for as far as I can remember. I just like the sound. It just makes more sense for me anyway. Nylon doesn't spin my wheels at all.
Got it. Awesome. And what about the pedals? Do you have a double pedal or a single pedal?
Yeah, I've got the old-fashioned DW 5002, I think it is, the red one, and it's a very simple pedal. Really, really simple. It's not a high-tech pedal. And that's why I like it so much. And so I would use that mainly. Well, with a lot of the Latin stuff you do, you have you'd have 16th notes on the kick, and where the double kick comes in is you can make those notes even, right?
Yeah.
Most guys play, you'll go da-duk, da-duk. The second note, the second 16th note will always be louder than the first, da-duk, da-duk. But with double kick, they can always be similar volume. That's why I prefer the double kick. It comes in handy with drum fills and some cool grooves that you can't play with with a single pedal.
Yeah, awesome. And then last technical gear question: do you use a metronome or do you rely more on your internal clock?
I prefer the metronome. I don't know how many times I've been to a band practice or a show and someone's bellyaching about the tempo slowing down. Oh, it's getting fast. Oh, you're slowed down, and you know the tempo is good, especially with prima donna singers. And you go, okay, how am I going to solve this? So having a metronome, especially at practices. and you run the metronome, there's nothing anyone can say. So you go, okay, you can keep it. You can shut them up straight away. Or because I get that quite often. Or you would use a video. I'd get a camera, set the camera up in the rehearsal room, and just play it and say, okay, now exactly where did we slow down? And normally they go, well, I thought it was about the second bar, but maybe I'm wrong. Metronomes, they fix the problem straight away. If I have to play without a metronome, then that's fine. I think my time is pretty okay to manage that way. But if I can have a metronome, some sort of click in the background, it makes me feel more comfortable anyway. I love it.
Got it. Yeah. I mean, it's so awesome. Every interview I've done, the answer is a little bit different for each one. Like I've had someone say they don't like click at all. I've had a bunch of people that say that it depends on the situation, and then you're the first person to actually say you really actually like the metronome more. So it's quite interesting, all the different answers, and not one answer is right. It's just whatever answer is right for you. So it's just really cool how I'm getting all these different answers to these questions. It makes it very interesting to watch these interviews.
Yeah, it makes me feel better as well, because a lot of times as drummers we would be playing, and somewhere in that song, what was a song 100 bars long, and somewhere you think, okay, am I slowing down here? Have I gone faster here? With a metronome in the background, you know where you are, and you can just freely do your fills, do your grooves, and not have to worry about someone about a song slowing down or speeding up. Though sometimes it does work. I mean, I was watching one of your other videos where you were talking about how, was it Copeland, Stuart Copeland?
Oh, yeah.
Or was I reading? I can't remember, where he was slowing down and Sting was complaining about it. But if you listen to any of their songs, it doesn't matter. If they, it's just, if you listen to, let's say, Led Zeppelin's Stairway to Heaven, the tempo goes up and down all the way through the song, but it's still a great song. And no, if you had strict tempo through that song, I don't know whether it would be the same. But listening to Stairway to Heaven, the tempo's all over the place, and it works. You can't tell. No one can say that's a horrible song.
Yeah, no kidding. Same thing with Baba O'Reilly. Keith Moon is all over the place on that song.
Exactly.
But, I mean, that is like another quintessential song that you just can't knock because it's so amazing.
Well, it's probably because I guess it's because the whole band fit. They fit together, and they knew exactly where they were going, and they all felt the same thing at the same time. So that way, that's why it works. If you're in a situation where you got a hired band or something like that, maybe it wouldn't work. But those guys, obviously they lived and breathed together for a long time, and it did work.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, so I want to ask you a more kind of interesting question, I guess. If you could live any one drummer's life or have any one drummer's portfolio, what drummer would it be?
Oh, I don't know. What should I ask that question for? There's so many. Who would I want to be as a drummer? I don't know.
Like if you look back on your performances and your playing career and all that stuff, there's so many different guys that you can choose from. Like you can choose the stage guys like a Tommy Lee, for instance, or Alex Van Halen, or you can go and choose a studio guy like Vinnie Colaiuta. It's just like, I mean, the answer can be, there's no wrong answer. They're all really great drummers, but just from your perspective, what would you want to look back and see?
Okay, so one of the drummers in the past who influenced me personally, if I can answer that way, is a guy called Steve Smith from New Zealand, a young guy when I first started playing, who had a little bit of a tragic life growing up. But while he was playing, he did encourage me to. And he gave me, a lot of hints, a lot of equipment as well to encourage me to play. Um, well, I've not really answered your question there, have I? I've talked about someone who's influenced me, but not someone who I'd like to be. Um, Jeff Picaro, I suppose. I just like I like his lifestyle. I thought he was the guy who was always on the right side and had the right groove and got on well with people and had a good lifestyle. I guess it would be Jeff Picaro.
Yeah,
if I had to put a name to it.
That's a great answer. I mean, he's been on everything. I mean,
Yeah.
Thriller, all the Toto stuff, all the what's that band that did the album Asia, Steely Dan stuff. Yeah.
But on top of that, not only because he's a good player, but because you don't, he was a decent guy. He was a nice guy from what we hear about him. So that's another part of his personality that I think that's important to you as a drummer. Not just how good you are with your hands and your feet. Are you a nice bloke?
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I love that answer. Last drum related question: why the drums?
I don't know why. I think it's a question. It's a question. Well, geez, a tough one. Why the drums? I get it. I get the drums. I guess I don't get it when people pick up a sax or a trumpet, and I can see they play it, but I don't get it. I don't get it. Yeah. And people look at me and say, you play drums, and they don't get it. Something went, something clicked inside my head and inside our heads, and we just picked that drum, the drum kit, and we get it. Other people don't get it, and I try to explain how good it feels, but they don't get it. I just when it comes to drums, I get it, and you get it. A lot of our friends, we get it. I don't understand why other people don't get it. It's just something that happens in your head, isn't it? It just clicks.
Yeah, it really does.
I think I tried guitar and bass guitar, but it didn't happen. It just didn't click.
Yeah, I mean, I've tried bass and guitar and piano, and I can find my way around, but it's more like I'm still in that baby crawling stage. I haven't gotten up on my two feet yet. As far as drums go, like I started on my 2 feet, like I could play a beat right away, and it was just something that, like you said, I just got. And then from then on, you start at an advantage when you have like an interest in that, and when you get it, you're an advantage over people that don't get it or need to work harder at it. But at the same time, those are the types of people that really succeed is the ones that need to really work hard at it. Like for a long time, I just got it and I didn't practice, I didn't like work on things. And there was a point where I kind of plateaued. And then I would see people that I thought weren't as good as me going past me. And then that was the point where I was like, oh, I really should start, learning my paradiddles and stuff like that.
Yeah. One of the things that I still love about playing drums, when you get it, why do you like drums? Is every time you go into a drum store, you see you'll see a drum kit or drum sitting on the floor somewhere without the head on it. So you go along and you stick your head inside the drum shell and you smell it.
Oh yeah.
That smell of a new drum shell, and you, oh yeah, I like this. Right? Every new drum kit that I get, the first thing you do is take the head off and you smell inside. You just smell that wood. It makes you feel good. I get it. No one else gets it. I suppose brass players, trumpet players, when they get a sax, they would, stick their nose inside the horn section and have a big smell. Yeah, I get it.
I wouldn't suggest doing that.
I don't know what guitar players would do.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. So we're lucky. We can feel it, we can touch it, and we can smell it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I love that smell of the wood and the glue, and it's just I know exactly. Right when you said that, I knew exactly what that smell was. It's awesome.
Yeah, yeah, it is. Yeah. If you only could bottle it and sell it on Modern Drummer, I'd make $1 million.
Yeah. Awesome, man. That's an idea that you should you should work on.
Yeah, we should run with that one.
Yeah.
That's not too bad. Hell yeah, your drum, call it your drummer's friend, and somehow a drummer can take a bottle of them to work every day when they're depressed. Just whip off the top of the bottle and have a quick whiff instead of having a glass of whiskey or something. Have a whiff of the drum. Have a whiff of the drum shell. That's not a bad idea. I might just think about it, just see how I can get to that one to work.
Yeah. I mean, if they can make anything smell like anything. It's got to be possible.
Yeah, I mean, how many drummers are there around the world? You know, there's hundreds of thousands, and you know, as a novelty, man, I'm getting really serious about this. This is it's going to take off. So, anyone else is watching, don't do it. We are painting this tomorrow.
Yeah, if someone runs with it, you need some sort of like intellectual property or some licensing rights. Oh man, that's great.
Yeah, I gotta go now. Bye.
Yeah. Got to go get those trademark papers.
Yeah.
Patent papers. Oh man. Okay, so that was amazing. I want to stop there and go to the next section because I think that's a good spot to end the drum related questions. The next section is what I like to call job related questions. So basically, we're going to do a little bit of role playing where I play an employer looking to hire an employee. So you've come to my interview room. I'm going to ask you some questions and see if I should hire you. All right. Well,
I don't like this at all.
yeah. Yeah, it's supposed to make you a little bit uncomfortable, but
yeah, it does. Yeah.
Just have as much fun with it as you can. Okay, so can you tell me about your strengths?
Oh, the strengths and weaknesses. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm probably as a drummer, my strength is I turn up to the show, and I've learned this through experience. I turn up to the gig and the show sober. A lot of young guys don't do that, right? And I think we all learned, most of us learned the hard way. Often when I was a young guy, I would start the show sober. By the end of the gig, I'm drunk, or I turn up at the gig drunk, right? This is serious, or I turn up at the gig with a hangover. So these days, it took me a few years to figure it out. But these days now, I turn up at the gig clear-headed every time. I can play better. You think you're playing well when you're drunk, and you're getting the guitar player looking at you, and you're blaming him for the bad time. He's got no. It's not me with the bad tempo. It's you. And I don't know how many times I've had. It's a terrible situation I've been in the past where I've done that a lot as a young guy and thinking to myself, oh, it'll be okay the next time. But these days, one of my strengths is turning up sober.
Nice. All right. I've never actually played under the influence, at least a show. Like practices are another thing. But yeah, every time I played a show, I've been sober. It's just the respect that I have for the kit and for the art form. And plus like trying to put the setup and to tear down, doing that not sober. I can't even imagine how much of a chore that is.
Yeah, well, it was a big part of my life when I was younger. But and these days, you think, well, what a wanker, because these days when I turn up and someone turns up drunk, I'm the first one to jump up and down, and complain about it. Yet I did it a lot when I was younger kid. Seriously, it's one of the strengths of for any musician, turning up with a clear head, and playing, because you're not going to upset your fellow musicians and the punters in the crowd. You can't perform well if you're not clear headed. So that's got to be a major strength, I think. One of the other things that I love to do is pore over method books and learn. As years pass by, you still want to learn new stuff. One of the things that I see happening around me here in Adelaide is a lot of guys from my genre, in my age group, tend to play, and they would call it classic rock, right? Classic rock. And what's happening is a lot of guys are playing the same songs over and over again. They get to a certain age, get into our 40s, 50s, 60s, and then they've stopped learning, or we have stopped learning, and that's a danger, because you tend to just play those same songs, those same 20 songs that you played 20 years ago. If we were to just keep on reading books, jumping on YouTube, and just trying a little bit harder to keep up with what's going on, we'll find playing a lot more pleasurable, I think. Because I don't understand why people want to play Smoke on the Water, and I played it 20 years ago. Why do I want to play it now? It's crazy.
Yeah.
How many times can you play it before you get sick of it? I'm over it.
All right. Well, what about your weaknesses? You got any weaknesses?
Oh yeah, I've got a lot of weaknesses. One of the things that I have, I'm really impatient. I'm very impatient. When as a younger guy, I tried my hand at teaching kids as a teacher. Man, that was tough. It was really, 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 really hard. You give these kids homework to do, right? And they turn up 2 weeks later, and all they want to do is just play the drum, play your drum kit. You can see that's all they want to do. And the mothers are paying $10 an hour to get them to, get them off their hands. So you're the one that's going to cop it for the next next hour or two. But that probably lasted about a year and a half. For me, and I realized, I talked to my wife about it. I says, "Darling, I'm going to kill one of these kids shortly. I think we better stop right now." And I knew that was back in the late 80s, prior to 1990, and I gave it a whirl. And patience has stayed with me my whole life. You're sitting there and you're waiting for the guitar player to tune up. Jesus, mate. They got this bloody thing. It's called a tuner, what are you guys doing? Well, the other thing is, what's the other one? The favorite is what chord is it? What chord is it? You've been playing Smoke on the Water for 20 years, I don't know what chord it is. Oh, what key? What key is it in? So, and that's when I show my real personality. I go, geez, what? No question. So, patience, it stayed with me, and my wife knows that I'm not a nice person when something goes when I get.
I interviewed Bill Morehouse, the third interview, and afterwards we were talking about the old man in us, and how as we get older, the more frequently the old man comes out. And yeah, it's a lot of the guys that have answered that question, their weakness is being impatient. So it's quite the thought provoker that we're all somewhat impatient, and even though we're all super nice guys, and I think actually pretty tolerable when it comes down to it, it's just funny to hear that we all think that our weaknesses are impatience.
Yeah, well, if you look, I know I've seen a lot of guys playing, and you go to bars, and you're watching the band. Often the drummer is ready. Right? I've got my sticks. I'm ready, guys. Come on, let's go. And it's a bloody singer who's the guitar player who's looking for his pick. He's dropped it on the floor and he's rummaging around. But the other thing that goes with that is I get quite argumentative as well. I don't know how many arguments I've had on the bandstand. I had a great one the other end of last year where I was playing, and we had the singer So I'm playing away there, and I'm playing eighth note grooves on the high. The song it was the eighth note groove, and and the singer picks up a pen, picks up the tambourine. Well, it's trouble. You know there's going to be trouble. As soon as the singer picks up the tambourine, friggin' trouble have it here. And I'm watching, I'm waiting, and she picks it up. She's aiming it towards the microphone, and she starts banging 16th notes. She's banging away on these 16th notes. And I'm going, it's an eighth note groove. Friggin' stop it. So I'm playing my. I'm looking at the guitar player, who's the leader of the band. And I'm looking at him, and I'm looking at her, and I'm looking at him, and I'm looking at her, and she has no idea what she's doing. So at the end of the song, I ended up having an argument with the guitar player. It's not his fault, but I'm saying, talk to the singer. She's ruining the groove. She's playing this bloody sick, and she's not even playing it properly. She's playing 3 or 4 bars. Stop, have a smoke, have a drink or something. They carry on with us 4 or 5 bars. And I'm thinking, you sit at home and you practice the song, you practice the groove, and someone comes along and just stuffs it up, with a tambourine, and they'll put that down and hit it, pick up a cowbell. Oh no, she's going for the cowbell now. So you gotta say something. Oh no, she's got a cowbell in one hand, she's got a tambourine in the other. She's going. You go, well, there goes the song. It's all over. And that's when I get. That's when I get argumentative, and I can't help myself. And I usually wait till. Sometimes I've let it, just let it go on stage, and then other times I'll probably wait till we get to rehearsal. But I do get quite argumentative sometimes, especially if I'm right. I'll just go for it, and for the embarrassment of the band.
I've been right there, man. I know exactly what you're talking about. And I think if I were to answer the weaknesses question, it's probably that I'm not argumentative enough. Like I'll just kind of, if someone's up on stage ruining the song, I just kind of watch it decompose and just go along for I'm like one of those guys on the Titanic that are just kind of waving goodbye.
Yeah. No, okay. There's nothing you can do about it. Exactly. There's nothing you can do about it. Yeah. I love you all. See you. Yeah, you're right. You're exactly right. You get to that point where, okay, it's over. Yes, just the way goodbye. I think one of my other weaknesses. Well, as I say, I have trouble holding back on my thoughts, and that's a big weakness. I mean, the real cool guys can pick their battles, if you like, and remain calm and look cool all the time. I don't have that. I don't have that skill, and I don't think I'll ever have it.
Well, it makes for interesting stories, man. I'll tell you. Okay.
I've had lots of battles with other musos, especially a bass player. They can't, the other one is you're playing away and the bass player will turn around to you and go, keep it straight. And you go, it is straight. The bar, we're playing in 4/4, mate. I might hit the snare on the 16th note or the third bar, but it's in 4/4. It's not changing. What are you talking about? Keep it straight. It is straight. What you need to do is count in 16 notes, and then you'll understand what's going on. I got frustrated with it. Can't help it.
Oh man, that's one I kind of want to be a bass player in your band just to see what goes on.
Has anybody ever said that to you? And they turn around and say, "Keep it straight," and you go, "Freaking hell, it is straight." What are you talking about?
I actually haven't had any bass players complain. I've had guitar players and singers complain, but not bass players. They're usually pretty cool with me.
Well, you think a bass player would understand what you're doing?
Exactly.
I don't know. I've just run to the bad ones. I suppose not the bad ones. I've just run to the ones that can't count past 4. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh man. Okay. Let's see. Let's move on. Uh, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
5 years. Oh, well, I'll still be here doing the thing. I think as far as the, I'll still be playing locally, weekends. Hopefully, my channel will still be growing. In one of the things, I think one of the things we all do when we first create the channel is create our channels is we do it because we love playing and we just want to play and put our stuff out there. One of the I know that on my channel I think I've got 230 subscribers. For the stuff that I do, I'd probably be lucky if I get to about 500. I'll be lucky if I get to 500. And I understand that. I think because my channel isn't the stuff that I do isn't popular, and I'm not. Obviously, I'm not going to change because I want more subscribers. That's not the reason why I'm playing. So in 5 years' time, I hopefully, if I can get to 70 or 80 subscribers a year, hopefully I might have about at least 500 subscribers, and I can die a happy little drummer, screaming at bandmates.
Yeah, I mean
I mean,
that would be amazing. Just uh, I same as you. I had no idea that there was this community on YouTube. I just made a video of myself playing and I put it up there, and somebody found me and told me about this community, and it kind of just snowballed from there. And now uh, I make a video, and it's just like it's almost second nature. I look forward to every time I make a video, and I look forward to creating like all these different types of things that go on, not just drum covers, like these interviews, for instance. If there ever came a time where I was like actually monetized on YouTube and I was doing interviews like this, like I'd almost feel like I was wronging somebody, because it's so much fun just talking to guys like you. And how could this be work? It's not work for me. It's and even the editing part, which is like the most time consuming part. You're editing stuff that you find a passion in. You love playing drums, and you love putting these things together so that not so that you could be famous or anything like that, but just because there's a love and a passion and a you're charismatic about it, and you want to create some sort of art. This is a new type of art form, really. Is just making videos, putting them up on YouTube, and seeing where it goes. Like it's quite the amazing journey that we're on, and I think if we're both doing it 5 years from now, man, it's just amazing. I think it's totally amazing.
Yeah, well, one of the first things I can remember the first time we connected, in which was what, a year and a half ago, and we messaged each other. And that's when I became one of your friends on YouTube. And prior to that, I had never ever gone onto YouTube and talked to the camera, which I've done lately. You'll notice I've only done that after watching your YouTubes where you started doing it, and I said, well, that's an idea. You've given me a lot of ideas, whether you realize or not. And I'm being very serious and very honest about this. Watching your YouTube channel, you've come across with you've done some things which have made me think, okay, that's a good idea. I'll see if I can push this a bit hard in another area. So I really appreciate that. But when you're talking about editing our videos, because I'd never done that prior to YouTube, and I find the editing part and the mixing part just as, or maybe even more joyful as the playing part. The playing would take say rehearsing a song might take about 4 or 5 hours. Yeah, at least 4 or 5 hours. The editing would take another 5 hours at least, and the editing part is just as good as the playing part. I love the editing. It's great stuff.
Also, me too. I never edited a video, never knew what it took to edit a video, never really even, I've recorded music throughout my whole entire music playing life, And every time I would play music record music, it would be to the drum machine. Like I would program the drum machines because I had no place to actually go and record drums. It was always super expensive, especially in LA. And to have your own studio was like out of the question. There's no way. So when I moved to Philly, and I was able to soundproof my basement and put my drums up, I had to learn how to record drums. I had to learn how to edit videos, like all those things I didn't know anything about. And that's part of the journey that I love, is just learning new stuff, learning the software, learning like cool little techniques like using transitions in between cuts and stuff like that. And all that stuff that you really geek out on it. And you can tell, like if I watch videos from the beginning of my channel or your channel or someone else's channel to videos that we're putting out now, it's night and day.
Yeah.
It's because we've learned so much.
Exactly. Yeah. When I look at some of the earlier videos that I've done, which I don't like doing, God, you can see all the stuff that I did back then. You know, you try and get every single piece of editing tool into a 3-minute song. You don't need to. You can space out a little bit more, and it takes a little while to understand that. But yeah, I love the editing part now, the mixing part especially. Yeah, it's good.
That's awesome. You know, you really should do a lot more talking. I think you have quite the personality. You have the amazing accent, and you have the stories to back it up, man. I really like if you started doing more of like a vlog series or something like that.
Yeah.
I would definitely be tuning in.
Oh, there's lots of stories. You know, a lot of us would have from our younger days. You know, these days I hear people talking about getting from A to B a lot quicker through teaching, which is great, which is fine. But I think a lot of young players still need to go through those early days where they have to experience all the stuff, all the stuff themselves, all that hard stuff. Because later on in life, they look back on it and enjoy it and say, "How I was, you work." You know, I can remember one of the bands I played in where we bought a van to cart our gear around, and the van didn't have a side door. So we'd put all the gear into the van, you know, amps and speakers and everything, and we'd try and tie the gear to the inside of the van. And someone had to stand by the door with their arms out like this
Oh my
to hold the gear back inside the van. And you know, these days you wouldn't do it, but you know, you look back at the younger days and think, you know, that was a lot of fun. You could have killed yourself, but it was still a lot of fun at the same time. That's a good memories.
Yeah, you know, like that's an interesting point that you bring up about teaching. I feel a lot of people they go to school to learn how to be a teacher, whereas, you know, I have a daughter now, and I hope that she's interested in music, and I want her to take music lessons. But I'm really going to vet the music teachers, because I want a teacher who not only has only taught their whole life, their whole career, but who's actually played. You know, there's so much to learn from somebody who has experience out in the field playing. And you can't teach that kind of thing in school. No, that's great. You have a bachelor's degree in music theory or whatever the thing is that makes you qualified to teach. But where have you actually played? You know, what stories do you have? And I think I wouldn't want my daughter to take piano lessons from somebody who just played piano in school and learned how to read music. I want somebody who's actually played gigs, who's actually been out there in the workforce, you know?
Exactly. You're just basically going over what I said before. I think as a young person, no matter what it is, it would probably do you well to experience those difficult times earlier in your career, rather than have someone say, "Well, don't do this. This is the better way," which is fine. But I still think that, you know, I guess I'm old school. It's just nice to go through those dodgy moments back in your young days.
Yeah,
those are good days.
I mean, it builds character too, right?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Let's see. You actually touched upon this earlier in the drum questions, but I want you to dedicate some time to people that maybe mentored you or people that you look up to?
Sorry, Kelly. What was that? I was pushing my earphone back into my ear.
Yeah, I wanted to actually give you some time. The question is, who's your mentor? So I wanted to give you some time to just like say who mentored you, who was a big influence and inspiration in your drum playing career.
Well, I know who that was. It was again. We're going back to New Zealand. In my early days when I first started taking up playing. It was a guy called Richard Prowse. He was a trumpet player. He was a jazz player, and I got a job in New Zealand. I was playing professionally for several years, and one of the environments I played in was a theatre. Doing plays, and he was one of the pit musicians. He was a sax player, not sax player, trumpet player, and he taught. Well, he in fact taught me how to read music when I first started playing. Taught me how to understand music and understand grooves and just appreciate my role as a drummer in the whole scene. One of the things he did tell me was that it's not, and a lot of guys are going to disagree with this. It's not only the drummer's job to keep time. The drummer can be the benchmark, but it's no point in the drummer being a good timekeeper if the bass player has crap time. It's just not going to work. So every guy in the band, every rhythm player in the band has to have decent time, good time preferably, and things like this I learned when I was younger, and that's where I can get argumentative when I'm playing with other musicians. I say, no, my friend, you've got bad time. You've got to go back. You've got to go back and listen to a metronome. And wow, what do you mean? It's your job to keep time. Yeah, I can keep time. Yeah, no problem. But what's the point of having a drum that keeps the time if the bass player's all over the place? So, mate, spend $20 to get a metronome and go home and have a good time. I can't help myself. And I think that's true. There's no point in me being an excellent timekeeper if you've got rubbish time. It's the band's job at the end of the day.
That's exactly the reason why I've never stepped foot on stage with a different instrument. Like I've frontmanned my own band where I play guitar and sing, but that's different because I was like the band leader. You know, I can make the rules. But if I was in another band and my instrument wasn't drums, man, I would really hone in on the very basics because, you've played on my one of my songs, which is very bass heavy. The rhythm is actually, the melody is actually written on the bass. And I know exactly what you're talking about because if someone said, you're not playing drums anymore, you're playing bass from now on, and you need to get on stage, I would be that guy. I would be that guy that was like off time all the time, and I would need to practice to a metronome.
Yeah.
But before you said that, I don't think I would be cognizant of it. I would probably just get on stage and be like, okay, I was a drummer for 30 years. I have perfect time, and then I'll just play, and I would probably blame the drummer for bad time.
Yeah. Well, that's. Yeah. I mean, I guess we learned this through experience. We come across that problem over and over again, and at some point you got to draw the line and say, okay, I know I'm going to upset somebody here, but well, tough.
Yeah, I mean, we all need tough love. That's the only way you really learn.
And you can't figure out why nobody's ringing you anymore. Why isn't that phone ringing anymore?
Oh man. Okay, so I think I want to move on from you actually did well. I'm gonna hire you, so consider yourself hired.
Well, how long though, Kelly?
And I'm going to go to the last section, which I'm not sure. You said you're married, so I'm not gonna call them the speed dating questions. I'm just gonna call them the get to know you better questions. They're kind of they're silly questions that hopefully will bring out more of your personality and kind of move away from the topic of music.
Uh-huh.
So, the first question is, are you a meat eater or a vegetarian?
What? Am I a meat eater or a vegetarian?
Yeah.
Well, I'm a meat eater. Um, uh, is this a trick question? I don't
No,
know.
no, it's one of those get to know you questions. A lot of people when I guess when they first, I mean, I've been out of the scene for a long time, but it's a legitimate question that people want
Okay.
to know nowadays.
Okay. Well, I am a meat eater. My daughter is a vegetarian, and I there is this issue between vegetarians and meat eaters because when my daughter comes to my place for barbecues to have something to eat, we have to cook her food first
Oh, yeah.
on the barbecue because and she gets very upset. She gets don't mix my look-alike steak with your real steak because I get really annoyed. I was like, geez, Catherine, when are you going to stop? Because she's been doing it for about, she's 15, she's been doing it for 20 years. And I know she's serious about it. She's one of these, she's a whale lover, tree hugger type person. And good on her, she sticks to her guns, but it does get annoying because vegetarians come along and they want special treatment. No, you just just pile all the food on the barbecue and just pick what you want. I can remember once when she was at uni and she bought a laptop and I said, okay, great, I'll buy her a laptop case. She was a vegan then, not just a vegetarian. She was a vegan, and I bought this all leather laptop case, not understanding that leather is a no-no for vegans. And I gave it to her, and she just looked at me and she goes, "Dad, what, dear? What's the problem?" I'm a vegan. Yeah, I know that, darling. What's the problem? This is a leather case. I understand that, dear. What's the problem? my wife had to tell me, darling, vegans don't enjoy leather on their bodies anywhere. So, oh, okay. So it was a bit of a lesson there. But vegans, and I understand what they're doing, and I appreciate it. Good on them. But it's really tough, trying to live with a bloody vegetarian.
You
So
know that
eat all the way.
I actually used to be a vegan when I was younger, and it's funny because when I look back, I really was just a pain in the ass to everybody else around me, and I didn't care. But now that I look back, it's like, oh my god, I was such a douchebag. Oh man,
Yeah,
that's a
we,
funny
we,
story.
yeah, we all understand it and we appreciate it. But boy, it's a tough, it's a tough lifestyle when you got 20, 30 odd people around a barbecue and there's this little steak that wants to get cooked first. And you go, okay, yes. It doesn't even look like a steak. It looks, I don't know, it looks like a piece of wood. It's horrible. Anyway,
Oh,
a lot of
oh
our
man,
vegan
oh,
trouble.
that's
Let's talk about that.
okay. How about choice of drink? Do you like beer more or wine more?
Well, I used to be a big beer drinker when I was a younger guy, but I drink. I'm a non-drinker now.
Mm.
Not because I religious thing, because I learned my lesson a few years ago. So when I don't go to shows, it's always orange, Coca-Cola, or water. Alcohol I stopped drinking alcohol about 2010, 2011. But strangely enough, my wife picked up where I left off. And now we have all these. Prior to that, we would have bottles and cans of booze in the shed ready to go to the recycling. Now that I've stopped drinking, my wife's taken over, and we've still got bottles and cans sitting in the garage to go to recycling. She expects. When I was drinking, it was my job to take those cans down to the recycling depot, right? Now that I've stopped and she's doing all the drinking, she still expects me to take all the cans down. A lot of our argument starts, hang on, darling, your cans and your bottles, you take them down. Don't expect me to do it. I finished drinking. And then that's when the arguments start. Like, well, I want a divorce. Go for it.
Oh man. Okay, so that comes to my next
Yeah, not
question.
absolutely
Coke
not.
or Pepsi?
Oh, Coke. Yeah, Coke all the time. Yeah, I've tried Pepsi. I don't know with the psychological thing or something happening in my head. I think, well, no, Pepsi's not. Although you've tried it, um, Coca-Cola is probably my go-to drink when I go out anyway. And I still, and I talk to my kids about this. You can still have a good time being sober. You can drink Coca-Cola just as much a good time as the guys sitting next to you getting drunk, smoking dope, whatever they're doing. Once you get obviously you get to a level, a line where you've gone past having a good time, and you're just
Yeah.
inebriated, right? And once you get there, you don't know you've reached that level, and you're just inebriated after that. So you can always, I guess, it sounds like I'm pontificating now. I promised myself I wouldn't do that. So I'll stop because I was one of the main instigators when I was young.
Yeah. Well, man, you're preaching to the choir. I almost never drink. It actually has a negative effect on my body. A lot of Asians have this thing where they're like allergic to alcohol, and I I have it. Look, whenever I drink, usually it just makes me want to go to sleep. So I don't really drink. I don't do any drugs, and yeah, it's really hard to get all my buddies to understand that even though I'm not drinking along with them, I'm still having a good time. I'm still,
Mm. Yeah,
everything's still fine. I can
yeah,
I can take care of myself. I'm
yeah.
fine.
It's funny when I was drinking, because I don't appreciate alcohol. Some people appreciate wine and they get it. Going back to that question, I don't get it. When people are drinking wine and they say, "Oh, I love this. It's got whatever they're talking about, the flowery smell and all that crap." And I say, "Well, I don't get it." And people drink whiskey, and they, oh yeah, it's got that woody taste. No, I don't get it. I don't understand it. When I drank, it was just to get drunk. It wasn't to enjoy the alcohol. Will they get me drunk? Yes, it will. Okay, give it to me. Okay, what it is, just give it to me.
Yeah.
I never appreciate. I'm not a. I've never appreciated alcohol. The true taste of alcohol, if there's one there, it would taste like vinegar to me. The whole of it, just horrible. But I kept on doing it, Kelly. I don't know why.
Like when you give a kid beer or any type of alcohol, they get that face, and I think kids always tell the truth. They have no filter,
Yeah,
and to me, it feels forced when people talk about how great this wine is or how great this whiskey is. It feels forced to me, like they forced themselves to like this thing.
yeah, yeah.
Like
I know what you mean.
the oaky taste. Like,
Uh,
do you eat oak by itself? Like, like I don't get it. I don't get it either.
yeah,
It's just a
I don't
weird
get it.
thing.
Yeah, I get it. And I understand what you mean by that. When you talk to somebody and they're talking, they're babbling on, banging on about this, and I say, really? Really? No, 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 no. Next subject. Let's carry on. There's something else to talk about. Let's
Yeah.
move along.
See,
I
that's
don't.
great. That's why I ask a question like that because actually I've been surprised more often than not. The people that I asked the beer or wine question to, a lot of them have stopped drinking. I
Yeah,
think it's because we're older now, and
yeah,
it's like like what's the point? Like
yeah,
there's no real point to it, especially if you're in a spot where you're happy. Like you seem like you're content in your life. I'm
yeah,
completely content in my life. I don't need that kind of stuff,
yeah.
anymore.
Yeah, I've got. I only wish that I hadn't taken it up with when you think about the money that you've spent over the years, and the fact that I've been able to keep my driver's license for all these years. I'm pretty lucky in that respect because drummers, we need our vehicles.
Yeah,
We
for
can't do
sure.
without our vehicles. So to be one of those terrible drinkers when I was in my early years and still hang on to my license somehow, because I'd jump on the car drunk and drive down the road with my gear in the car, and got away with it for many years. I got away with it, but I don't know how.
Yeah.
I never killed anybody on the road, so I'm just saying, well, geez, someone's looking after me somewhere.
Yeah, yeah, like I'm in the same boat, man. I look back at all the stupid things I did when I
Yeah,
was a kid,
yeah,
and you just count your blessings, and
yeah,
now it's just like, okay, I think I kind of I got it figured out. Now
yeah,
I gotta like s- keep all that stuff in the past and just live
yeah.
as straight a life as possible, stay out of trouble, and everything will be fine.
Yeah, yeah, and I guess we've turned into one of these guys, who used to smoke, and you turn into a non-smoker, and you start banging and hammering at smokers. You get to that point where you've got to say, "Oh, hang on, I've just got to hold back a little bit because I'm starting to pontificate
Yeah.
over again." So you just, I think you're supposed to be. I'm doing it again. I'm just doing it again. I don't know why. Sorry, I'll shut up.
Yeah. Okay, let's get away from the pontificating.
Yeah.
Let me answer this. What is your favorite movie?
Oh I have a few, I suppose, and they're all probably the older ones. Favorite movie. Um, I can remember when I was a kid watching an actor called. Not many people would remember this guy called Charles Lawton. And I was very young at the stage, and watching, he was in a movie called it was the original Hunchback of Notre Dame. It was in black and white. And as a young guy, watching this movie, this Hunchback, it all seemed to be real, because I was
Mm.
very young, very impressionable, instead of watching cartoons, and I was watching this movie, and I thought it was real, and it stuck with me for a long, long time. And you look back at it now, and you watch it now, and you know how primitive the recording, the movie making was back then. But back then, it was a really big experience of my life, and it stayed with me. But another movie I enjoyed was um, oh no, I can't remember it. It was a horror movie. Ah, what are those? What are the horror movies? I can't remember it.
Is it new or is it older?
It's an old one. Regan. Well, her name was Regan. She was possessed by the devil.
Oh,
Uh, uh,
Exorcist?
the Exorcist. That's right. I remember seeing when I was about 17 or 18 years old with my girlfriend, and I was holding her hand. It was, yeah. I thought that was a great movie. These days, I still won't watch it by myself. It's still a spooky movie. That's probably the two that have that I enjoyed. The Matrix is another one that I like.
Yeah.
Had to see that about 10 times because I didn't understand it. It was a real. Wow, what's going on here? What's going on? I must have
Yeah.
spent about $60-$70 going back to bed watching it, trying to figure it out.
Have
Oh, there's
any
so
of
many.
yeah, have any of them helped you with your video editing? Like, have you looked at movies in a different light?
No, no, not at all. A lot of stuff I watch these days. I watch a lot of Jennifer Aniston movies because you can watch a Jennifer Aniston movie on a Saturday and forget it by the end of the evening because it's one of those movies you don't remember.
Yeah.
So Sunday you can watch it again and not remember anything about it. So you can watch it over and over again. It'll always be new. That's why I like her movies. Well, not just her movies, those type of movies. They just okay for the hour and a half. Oh, it's good fun. What was it about? Oh, I can't remember. Watch it again.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that happens a
Yeah,
lot to me.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. What about books? You have any favorite books?
Well, the Shogun. Do you remember a movie called Shogun? Well, I
Yes.
read the book James Clavell, the original
Yeah,
novel.
it's like
It's probably the only
that
book I've
thick.
yeah, yeah. I'll probably read it about 3 times at least. And it's the only
Wow.
book I've ever read. I enjoyed. I put myself in old Japanese times, and I thought I was a samurai, and what would I do in this situation? I loved it. And so I've only read one book in my whole life, and that was it. which is a good story. Show the Shogun. Now we modern drummer, so not the same thing, is it?
Yeah.
With,
Oh
with,
man.
with,
Still
with
entertaining though.
yeah, with Shogun, you had to create the images yourself. You know, when I was reading the novel, I had to create because that was before the movie came out or the movies come out. So I had to
Yeah.
imagine, myself in the samurai outfit and all that type of thing. But
Yeah.
these days, the movie and the book come out at the same time. Takes away
So
that.
exactly, it really does. When the movie came out, did it look different than what you saw in your head?
Yeah. It did. It was a bit more real. I imagine when I was reading the book, I imagined a lifestyle that was a lot older, a lot dirtier, a lot more primitive. But when the movie came out, it was just a little bit cleaner, a bit tidier, and it was a good. All those movies were good movies. Enjoyed them. But in my mind, I wanted an old Japanese environment, back in the, what was the 16th, 15th century? I can't remember.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they didn't have super clean, shaved white blokes roaming around the Japanese islands.
Oh man, okay. Do you have a favorite animated character?
No, not really. Not really, Kelly. Animated character. No, no, I can't think of one. I
Yeah,
can't
that's
think.
totally fine. Not to, like a lot of people, especially in the States, are into things like anime, and they love their cartoons like The Simpsons and Family Guy and whatnot. And they're funny channels or funny shows and whatnot. But I'm in the same boat. Like I'm not so into the animation. Like it's there. It's good. I'll watch it if it's on, but I'm not gonna go and search for it.
Yeah, it doesn't figure in my life that cartoons and animation doesn't figure in my life. I don't know why. Just hasn't crossed my path.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. Like my wife, she's a big Disney person, and she loves Winnie the Pooh, and it's just like everything. Now that we have a daughter, everything is Disney, Winnie the Pooh, and I'm like, okay, I guess. It doesn't. I don't get it.
I can remember when my kids were young. I used to tell them the story of Goldilocks and the three little bears, right? And we put them to bed, and they go to bed. And of course, I didn't have the patience to read the whole story, so I'd tell the story, blah, 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 and we get to the part where Goldilocks would go to bed and fall asleep in Father Bear's bed, and I say to the kids, right, enjoy that. Yes, that was great, Dad. Thank you, because I never finished the story off. And thanks, Dad. Go to sleep. And one night, I decided to finish the story off, and I said, and Goldilocks jumped in the ground and Father Bear's bed and went to sleep. And they were looking at me, ready to close their eyes, and I said, and while she was asleep, the three bears came home. and I said, what? The three bears came home. Yeah, the three bears came home. And they walked up the stairs. And well, it was just so, there was a whole, they looked at me and said, Dad, you've been keeping this away from us all these years. I think they had me for a little while, but it was a fun time when I saw the look on their faces when I just added a little bit. They realized I had to add it sooner or later. They were going to find out. So, and then the three bears came home.
Oh man, it's hilarious. Oh yes, I wanted to ask you this: do you play any sports?
Yeah, I play rugby.
Really?
Well, I'm from New Zealand. Duh. I mean, when I grew up, we know who the All Blacks are. The New Zealand rugby, the New Zealand rugby team. No,
No,
Kelly.
no.
Well, no, we've got to teach you these things. So
Yeah,
the rugby is the major sport in New Zealand, and when we're born, we probably know the current the team, the New Zealand team, are called the All Blacks. not because they're, as someone's like, people continue asking me, because they're full of Maoris. No, it's because they wear black uniforms. They're called All Blacks because of their black uniforms. Oh, okay, not because they're Maoris. No, not because they're Maoris. Okay, so we go past that one. Anyway, yeah, I've been playing rugby all my life, and I still love it. I've got a good friend in Ireland who we contact, who we talk about rugby quite often, and he's got a drum channel as well. And we bang on often about where Ireland are going to come in the Rugby World Cup, which is coming up this year, and where New Zealand are going to be. But I've been playing rugby for all my life, and I still like to play. These days I play, they call it the golden oldies.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it's a little bit slower, and you can take your time. The only problem with that one is because golden oldie starts, you qualify for golden oldie when you're 35. Right, when you're 35 years, and they're still bloody young. They're still very young when you're playing with much older guys in their 50s. So, and you get onto the field, and a 35-year-old guy is running at you at 100 miles an hour, and you're going, "Fuck, are you gonna slow down, or are you gonna hit me?" These guys, and they'll come and they'll hit you, right? And you go, "Come on, man! It's a Sunday afternoon. We're just having a run around. If you want to go and play like that, go and play on a Saturday afternoon with the guys, half your age." And but the good thing is about rugby is that when you finish playing a game and you survive, it feels good to be alive. You come off the field, right? You count all your fingers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Life's good. And you go back and all these guys that just tried to kill you, you have a beer with them, or Coca-Cola, and they say, and then you say, "Mate, you got me really good in the second half. Can't wait to get back to the next game, buddy. I just cannot wait to get back because I want to get you." Rugby is a lot like playing in bands. You rely on a lot of people that are around you, and if the team is to succeed, the band is to succeed, then all the other guys in the band have to do their job well. So I think there's a similarity, but then except for the violence.
Yeah. Yeah, I play ice hockey, and I draw a lot of similarities between the two. There's a lot more similar than people think.
Yeah, I know. There's a lot of violence in the ice hockey as well. It's probably the only reason why I watch it is when they try to kill each other on the you call it a court, and you go, because fighting in rugby, once a fight starts, the ref will just jump in and try and stop it. But in hockey, they let it go.
It's crazy.
No one's going to stop it.
No, man, and there's guys that don't have any face protection or anything. Yeah, they're nuts.
Yeah, well, yeah. Oh, of course, I've got a friend here in Adelaide from Canada, and he likes ice hockey as well. Sometimes we'll watch it with him, and the skill level, is incredible when I watch their game. But be honest, I'm waiting for the fights to start. And I'm thinking, come on, somebody hit somebody.
Yeah, it is one of the more interesting. Unique parts of the game is no one else really allows fighting, and they're the only ones that do.
They let it go. I was like, wow, good on them.
Oh, cool. All right, I didn't know about the rugby part. That's pretty cool, man. Have you had any serious injuries?
Oh yeah. I've broken my nose a few times, and I've got a platinum plate in my eye.
Oh my God.
Not in the eye, in the above my cheekbone, and some wanker tried to hit me with his head, and but we're mates, we're friends now.
Of course.
And I've broken my cheekbone, but it's really just my face that suffered all the problems. I've never broken any arms or legs. For some reason, people just go for my face. I don't know why. That's why I look the way I do now. My nose. If you look at you probably can't see, but my nose is permanently facing that way. It's because of the number of times being broken. It just goes that way. I don't mind though. Nobody worries about it.
Battle scars, right?
Yeah,
Oh
but it's
man.
good.
Okay. Uh, let's see. I think I actually got just one more question. I've liked this question so far, and I like the answers that I've been getting. Are you now right now in New Zealand? I believe it's like
Oh, in
almost
New
two
Zealand?
o'clock. I mean,
And that,
sorry, in Australia.
yeah, it's 2 o'clock now.
Oh, Jesus. So are you an early riser or are you a night owl?
I'm not out. I'm a late riser, so I'll probably stay, especially when I'm editing covers. I forget what the time is, and I'll just keep on going. I'll look at the clock, and it's oh shit, it's midnight. I better go to bed. You don't want to, because you want to carry
Yeah.
on doing what you want to do. But I'm a night owl. Although I've found lately, over the last few covers that I've been doing, you get to a point where you think the best thing to do now is to go away and come back 8 hours later and have another fresh look at the thing. Because in my earlier videos, you can't see the forest through the trees, that sort of situation. And I've learned over the last few covers, okay, I've gone as far as I can. I'm getting tired now. My ears are getting tired. Time to go away, and I'll come back another day. So a video now would take from start to finish, not hours, but would take at least a week. But when
Oh
you
wow.
condense it a number of hours, it would probably take 8 hours. But I'd spread it over a week, just give my ears a chance
Yeah.
to get fresh again. Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like I've had guys on so far where they'll just play they'll hit record, they'll play the thing maybe one or two takes, put it up on YouTube and call it a day, and 3 or 4 hours worth of work. So
Yeah.
it's interesting to hear that your process is a little bit closer to the 8 hour process, because
Yeah.
that's closer to how much time I take for a cover, from
Yeah.
beginning playing to the end of, like, by the time I hit that upload button. It's more like, I would say, an average of about 5 or 6 hours for me, of just all of that.
Yeah, the issue with me is that if I hear something that I don't like, and it's just that the snare drum is just lower than what it should be, it'll just stick with me. But once you put it on YouTube, once you upload it, that's it. It's finished.
Yeah.
It's there now. So there's nothing you can do about it. So I like to make sure that's everything is as best I can, make sure it's I'm happy with it before I upload it to YouTube. And just so if I need to take a week, then I'll take a week.
Yeah, like, I've actually, talking about how we go back and look at the old videos. Some of my old videos, like, make me cringe. Like, I go like this. Oh my God, how can I put that out?
Yeah.
So now I'm thinking that I might take some of the worst ones and redo them. So if that's the case, that'll be a cover that takes 2 years to finish. And
Yeah,
that's a process, because I can't look at that and be like, if I could go back and say, oh, okay, that was the best that I could do at that point in time, then I'll leave it. But if I know even back then I cut corners, or I might have let things slip, I'll probably go back and try to redo that cover.
I'm not on the same. I don't think the same as you on that one. Was once I think once because once I've done the video, I'll get rid of all the original videos, all the original. So I can't. So I know I can't go back and do it again. I can't go back and redo it again. And once it goes on to YouTube, for me, that's it. That's what I did at that time. That was it. And I'll probably won't go back and do it again, because I've done it. Like I was saying about guys that play the same song 20 years ago, you've done it. Move on. Right, I've done it now.
Yeah,
Because there's so much stuff to do out there.
it's
I don't
true.
want to. Why do you want to go back and that comes to this other point. And a lot of guys are going to jump up and down about this. I know, is drum covers. A lot of guys will say, okay, it's not a drum cover because you're not playing it exactly the same as the original drummer. Well, crap. I think because So I'm pontificating now, right? I'm going to go on and on, bang on about this. I don't see the reason to play a song exactly the same as the original drummer. Because if you're listening to it and you want to hear the original, then go and listen to the original. If you want to listen to the original, play it. If that turns and spins your wheels, go and do that. What I'm doing, or what other drummers are doing, they're hearing the song and they can hear different things that are happening in that song. And now I'm going to approach a song from a different perspective. And that's what, that's for me, that's the drum cover that I like to listen to, is a guy that's heard the song, but he's hearing other things in that song, and he's going to add those things into the song. So all my covers, none of them feature the original. I don't copy any of the original tracks. I mean, sometimes people jump up down about it, so stuff you. I don't care.
Yeah, I think there's certain drummers where you kind of have to at least get close to what they're playing. Like a guy like Rush, Neil Peart, right? If
Yeah,
you
that's good to hear.
play
Yeah,
if you play anything different than what he plays, people get crazy. They go
yeah,
crazy, and
yeah. Yeah.
um, I would actually like to see people their interpretation of Rush songs. Like because I was actually talking to I can't remember who it was. But we were talking about Neil Peart. I think it was George St. George, and he was saying how when he writes the drum part, he he plays every single thing that he can think of, every fill, every nuance or whatever, and he records it. And he'll go and he'll edit, he'll take out parts that he thinks aren't don't fit the song, and then that's what's left over is the actual recording. So I want to know if he really does do all of that. Maybe there are parts out there that someone else might think of that would fit the song as well, maybe even better. Like
Yeah, well, we're talking about rock music or jazz. Well, it doesn't apply to jazz because jazz just goes, oh, you do whatever you do in jazz. But it's rock music. We're playing. We're playing rock music. If you're talking about, say, Beethoven, for example, now he's written a score, and that's what you play, and there's no deviation from that score. So when you get all that type of music, that's what you're going to play, whether you like or not. If you're going to do that sort of style of music, we're talking about rock music now. So it's a different. You're looking at it from a different perspective. To me, rock music is not. You don't have to play exactly the same thing every time you play that song. I mean, probably I can't think of any artist, well-known artist, that's covered another artist's song where they've done it exactly the same. It just doesn't happen. They'll always put their own personality into their song, and that goes with drumming as well. I think I personally prefer to hear someone, even if it's a Rush song, I prefer to hear someone interpret the score how they hear it in their head rather than how Neil Peart hears it. Okay, we've heard Neil's version. There's got to be other versions as well. So I can get quite argumentative on that subject.
Yeah, that's I'm more agreeing with you than anyone else. I think it makes the song fresh. It makes it more interesting to hear somebody else's perspective.
Yeah, it does. That's the key word. It gives it some freshness. If you want to hear the original, that's great. I love it. You listen to the original, but I want to hear somebody either improve on the arrangement or stuff it up. It's just nice and new. It's exciting.
Yeah, totally. That's awesome. Or I could probably go on forever and talk forever with you. It's been such a pleasure, man.
It's great.
I knew it was going to be a great interview, but it even exceeded my expectations. I didn't know I was going to laugh so hard. I didn't know you're such a funny guy, man.
Yeah, yeah. You should see me at work. People hate me at work.
Well, hopefully they'll watch this video and they'll have a different perspective of you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. At work, I'm a lot more serious. I'm a lot more serious, but I'm not at work. So I enjoy. Sometimes we get too precious with ourselves, and in the last few years, I think we have. I'm really quite happy to laugh at myself and laugh at my own culture. In New Zealand, we have a Maori Maori humour, which most probably only Maoris understand it, and we laugh at ourselves. We make jokes about ourselves. We make jokes about our size, what we look like, our flat noses, our big fat feet, and all that type of thing. But and it's great. You go out in the real world and you talk about someone's flat nose, you could get really hammered by some wanker saying, you shouldn't be saying that. Well, just don't be so precious. It's not. I can understand what they're saying, but I'll just shut up. Yeah. I have a good laugh at everyone's expense.
Yeah. Well, man, it's been a pleasure. It's been a joy, and I hope that we can do this again on some other front. I'm trying to work to the point where I can get my another show where I'm not talking about music and I'm just kind of talking about whatever we want to talk about, which is kind of what we do here, but it's more centered around music. But I do want to start something where I'm it's not bound to music. I want to just talk about whatever. So, when that time comes, you're definitely going to be on that show because I had a blast, man. This was so fun.
No, mate. Thank you. Thank you for having me on. And I can honestly say that you've been good for me since we've become friends on YouTube. A lot of the stuff you do, I think hey, that's a good idea. And a couple of times I've come back to you and said, you've promoted an idea in my head that I'm going to carry on with. I've never sat in front of a camera before, and one of the reasons why I've done that is I've seen you do it, and I say, okay, it can't be that much of a scary experience. I'm going to give it a go. It's you honestly, mate, you've been good for me, and I appreciate you being alive.
Yeah, man. I really hope that I see more of you because it's addicting. I kind of want to do another interview right now. It's so much fun.
Oh, but, I had a blast, and allowing me to bang on about all sorts of stuff, which I had to get at home. My wife just says, "No, I don't want to hear it. Go away. Go back to your room."
Oh man, that's
okay,
great. Okay, well, I hope you're in your room a lot more. I hope you're behind that camera a lot more. It's been a pleasure, man. And yeah, dude, just thank you so much for coming on. I had a blast.
Thank you, man. I'll look forward to catching up with you in the years to come. I really appreciate you talking to me. Hey, have a good life.
All right, you too. Have a good sleep. I know it's getting late out there.
Yeah, I'm gonna be late to work tomorrow. I've already warned my boss.
Oh, good, awesome. Okay, all right, man. Well, I'll see you soon.
Okay, adios.
See ya.
Bye.
I can see past the deadlines. I'm playing with fire, but I don't really give a damn now for selfish reasons. Hey, you wanna come and join me? Yes, I know you do. I know it's bad for me to tempt you,